stay tuned in for the entire show, things we want to update you on. But several years back, Jerry, the MBA students at John Paul the Great University did a survey of Catholic radio listeners. About 2,000 of them, I believe, were surveyed. And what came out of it was just amazing. And I can only imagine that it has grown since then when they did the study many years back. But for Catholic radio listeners, listen to some of these statistics, folks, and then you can weigh in and see how it's affected your life. Of the Catholic radio listeners, 94%, because of listening to Catholic radio, are more spiritually engaged and inspired. 47% attend Mass more frequently. Wow. 12% had their marriages saved. And we've got more stats to share too. Isn't that awesome? That's what Catholic radio does. I was talking to someone right before the show, and they said, one of our radio listeners, and she said, how would you, define Catholic radio? I said, it's one massive adult formation group. It really is. I mean, the catechesis we receive each and every time you hear the calls and the shows and the programs and the topics and things that are addressed. It's constantly forming us in the faith.
That's right. So if you're hearing our voices today, you are really, really blessed. Not because it's me and Debbie on the radio, but it's because you have Catholic radio. And let's face it, there have been, for many, many decades, there have been radio stations on like Catholic university campuses and so forth. But unfortunately, they often get used for even non-Christian purposes. But we owe such a great debt to Mother Angelica and EWTN. Mother had the vision to make programming available free of charge to anybody who could start Catholic radio stations. So that's why I say, if you're listening to us, if you're hearing us right now, well, feel that gratitude to Mother, but of course, beyond her, to Jesus Christ, and call and let us know how Catholic radio has had an impact on you. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
And if you didn't get a chance to listen to Women of Grace, because maybe you were doing something else, or catching up what's going on with the election, please go back and listen to Women of Grace today, especially the last caller. Okay, and Johnette Williams's response to Gary from Alabama. It was amazing. Johnette, I wish you can say that every single time you do your show, because it's so important, because I do feel that many folks are getting discouraged right now. Everybody's been praying. So, just going overtime in prayer, right? And we're not seeing what we think the outcome should be. And in that attachment to the outcome, we're getting super discouraged because we're thinking, where is God? And Johnette gives an amazing explanation of how we are to continue on and not get sidetracked and not get discouraged, because it definitely is, the devil's way of getting us off the mark. And so I think she did a beautiful job explaining that. So Johnette Williams, way to go. And so catch the last part of Women of Grace. But Jerry, we've got so many things to share, more statistics, more updates, more things that came out of the voting and what's happening, some current stuff that's happened, more clarifications, and a tiny little update, because so many of you Take Two listeners who we love so very much have been praying for me and what's going on with my health situation. So I have a little update. And we want everybody to stay tuned in.
Well, and I have a couple of important dates that I want to point out to our listeners, Debbie, and you'll know where I'm going with this. Oh. Tomorrow is Debbie's birthday. Happy birthday a day early.
Tomorrow's our anniversary.
Oh, tomorr's your anniversary. Monday's your birthday.
Monday, yeah.
I get this mixed up because you have the whole month of November to celebrate all of these great moments in your life. Yeah, tomorrow is Marty and Debbie's 11th wedding anniversary, and Monday is Debbie's birthday, and I won't say how old she's going to be, but she's just as young and spry as anyone that I know. So wish her a happy birthday when you call in.
Oh, thanks. Double nickels. I'll tell it.
Double nickels. Okay.
Yep. 55. Yep. Yeah, amazing. But I don't feel that. You know that, Jerry, because Jerry and I, when we catch up or prep for the show or talk about future topics and everything, we're always playing like phone tricks on each other and stuff. I mean, we're like, I think we're like 12 when it comes to using the phone.
Yeah, right.
But
Well,
we
a
have
lot
fun.
of most 12-year-olds have a phone nowadays, so
Right,
that's not
right.
too far off the mark.
I know, too funny. Okay, so how has Catholic radio helped you in your life? How has it impacted your life? Here's another stat from that survey done at John Paul the Great University. 31% have come back to the church because of Catholic radio programming. 31% have come back to the church. Wow. Great statistics.
It is. They all are. As Debbie always says when we host pledge drives, we need to support Catholic radio because Catholic radio works. That's what Debbie says all the time, and she repeats that because it is absolutely true. And so on this Friday, we're going to be talking about definitely some serious things, updates on things going on, but generally speaking, from you, the listeners, we want to hear your own testimony. And believe me, these statistics that Debbie is reading, they don't even scratch the surface of the really, going into detail on some of these stories. We've heard of abortions being averted, people going back to confession after 70 years, marriages restored. So tell us what you think of Catholic radio and how it's helped your life. 833-288-3986. Calls are coming in. We're going to them in just a second here.
Divine Intimacy Radio.
The greatest joy in my life is helping others to come to know Christ more fully. And there's no better light on this path, the path to deep union with God, than the wisdom of the saints. Talking about this daily on EWTN Radio is one of the great joys of my life.
Divine Intimacy Radio, Sunday, 6:30 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Hi, Take Two family. Jerry and I are so excited about the launch of Stand Tall, our new ministry designed just for you. Please visit standtalltoday.com and take a look at all the resources, devotionals, and services we have provided to assist you on your spiritual journey. Feeling stuck? Or maybe you feel like you're moving backwards? Let us help you take another look at life and make great strides toward being the person both you and God want you to be. Learn more at standtalltoday.com.
Wings is the weekly newsletter that's packed with program info, features, and updates of all that's going on at the Global Catholic Network. Just go to EWTN.com/wings. Fill out your name and email address, and you'll start getting your wings every week. When you get yours, send it to all your friends, and they can send it to their friends. And pretty soon, we're covering the whole world with the good news about EWTN. Wings, the weekly newsletter from EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
We are so glad you're with us here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Michael Birchfield is our producer, as always, on the board today. Jeff Burson is handling social media, so if you'd like to make a comment on EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page or YouTube channel, you can do that. And we have Ryan Penny on the phones at 833-288-3986 as we talk today about how Catholic radio has helped your life, and maybe in particular during some of the tougher things that we've gone through in these last several years, and we're, of course, in the midst of a lot of turmoil right now. So please do join us for that. And I want to also mention you can join the Franciscan Missionaries of the Eternal Word as they celebrate Vespers and Benediction of the Blessed Sacrament. That's every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on EWTN Radio Essentials, followed by Mother Angelica Answering the Call. That features, of course, calls from the best of Mother Angelica Live. That's every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on EWTN Radio Essentials. So there you go.
Jerry, wave to our friend Rebecca from Sacred
Hi,
Heart
Rebecca.
Radio. She's watching us. Hi, Rebecca. We love you. Yeah. Okay, so a couple things before we get to the phone. So Jane will be first. Hang on, Jane. Real quickly, I wanted to share a couple things, and I want to get this, just perfect for everyone. I love the Take Two family. You guys are emailing us and even emailing EWTN and said, can Debbie just clarify something one more time? Please forgive me, folks. We are getting just deluge with information, emails, updates on the election, this, that, by state, everything. So it's very hard to, process everything. So please forgive me. I want to make sure I clarify it again, just to make sure we're all on the same page and we all understand exactly what's out there. So couple things. remember, we have the prayer and fasting group. Okay, that is the group of over 1,000 people we asked to join us from July 1st to January 1st, right? So don't be stopping now. We're on Friday. Okay, fasting, Friday fasting. Think that way. Fasting breaks strongholds. Okay, so please don't get overwhelmed with everything that's happening with the elections. Prayer and fasting, we got to ramp it up. Okay, so with that, that's why I brought to everybody's attention what was going on yesterday with different ballot measures and different things that were happening. That's the reason. But I misstated a couple things. I did correct it in the middle of the show, but let me do it again. So a couple things. Catholic News Agency, guys. Take note of the articles that are coming out of Catholic News Agency. It's a resource of EWTN. It's amazing. They're keeping you aware of what we need to pray for and to pray about and to pray against. Okay. For instance, one article came out, Portland rioters damage Catholic church known for outreach to the poor. That just happened. That's a Catholic News Agency article. Real quickly, Jerry, if I may, just 2 more minutes and we'll go to Jane real fast. Catholic News Agency also did another great article on all the ballot measures about the legalization of recreational use of marijuana. In Oregon, they passed a measure to decriminalize the possession and use of small amounts of controlled substances such as heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamines. Okay, now keep in mind, folks, they have legal recreational marijuana use. Do you see the slippery slope happening here? Okay, now also South Dakota, Arizona, Montana, and New Jersey. It passed for legalizing recreational use of marijuana for 21 and above. The bishops in Arizona came out. We have 2 bishops, Auxiliary Bishop and Bishop Olmsted, and Auxiliary Bishop Eduardo Navarez. And they both came out in September and said, please don't legalize this. Don't legalize this. This is going to have an effect on our youth. And it passed in Arizona. So there's a legalized recreational use. In Mississippi, it's medical marijuana. And then again, I'm going to clarify it again just for everybody in Colorado. Right now, there's late-term abortion procedures legal in Colorado. There was a proposition on the ballot to ban late-term abortions. That's 22 weeks to term. Okay, it was defeated. It did not pass. So they're going to continue with their late-term abortions. Everybody in Colorado is listening. I hope I got that correct. I believe there's 90% reporting, and it's coming in 58.8 no to defeat it, 41.2 yes. So we've got a problem. We've got to catechize. That's why we need Catholic radio more and more. And then the last thing I just want to share real quickly, if I can, Jerry, real fast, yeah, sure. Quick update, very quick update. I went to my doctor yesterday. Everybody's praying. I had been dealing with an issue since 2016. I went to the doctor yesterday, and I was really so grateful to God and to you, dear listeners, for praying, and to the angels and saints. Amazing. So I'll share more because our producer's saying we got calls lining up, but I'll share more in a minute about how I chose to evangelize to 2 medical professionals who aren't Catholic, but I wanted to share with them the power of prayer and the power of our saints, and what the response I got back. But I think, Catholic radio helped in that, really, strengthens your ability to go out there and to evangelize. And I think that's part of it as well.
Well, thanks for all that information and that great update on your health. We'll continue to pray that things go in a good direction for Debbie. And today you're listening to Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie, talking about the impact that Catholic radio has had in your life. How has it helped you? And again, not just maybe it's just been, like I said, that companion that's been along the side you on the journey. Nothing dramatic, perhaps, but maybe it was something rather dramatic and impactful. And if you share that right now, there are a lot of people who are listening to this who may be at various places in their faith walk right now, and you could have a real impact on them. So here's the number: it's 833-288-3986. As Debbie promised, Jane is first in Charleston, West Virginia, listening on St. Paul Radio. Hi, Jane. Welcome to Take 2.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I just love your show, and I'm so glad that Debbie got to evangelize with the doctors, because I think we need to do more of that and tell them what the power of prayer is doing in our lives and how it affects our health too, as much as anything. Sometimes it helps. It's a lot better than even prescriptions. So I think that's wonderful. We have a big prayer line here in Charleston. Well, I'm actually in my church is in South Charleston, and we have a big prayer line where we share our concerns and our prayers, and it's not a gossip group, it's a prayer group, and we just share our prayer, what we need prayed for, and we have a lot of wonderful, wonderful results with our prayers.
Beautiful.
And I just love the EWTN. The majority of the programs are just wonderful. I love the coming home programs and all of that. I don't, and I can't listen to the newscast, because I don't believe in abortion. I fight against abortion. I march against abortion, everything. But there's no way that I can that I could support Trump, because I think we can all see what his true mission is, and it's more for him than it is for us or for our babies or for the poor or for anyone. So I do thank you for all your other programs, and soon this will be over for the news, and maybe I can get back to watching Catholic news again. But I haven't been able to watch it during all this, because it just is too upsetting to see his true personality, and then to listen to the Catholic news and how they talk about him, and it just hasn't worked. So,
Jane, you had made some comments that you are grateful to Catholic radio and all that it does to help, catechize and to form you in the faith and keep you encouraged and moving along in the faith. And it sounds like you have a very vibrant prayer group that you belong to. I just want to share something, though. I know that sometimes things may not quite be received well for people, depending on what they are thinking and what they are feeling. That's understandable. But as for Catholic radio, it's the same thing that if you work for the Catholic Church. Okay, when I worked for the Diocese of Phoenix at the parish level for over 25 years, we were taught, you teach the Catholic faith. You keep your own personal thoughts out of it. You don't, you make sure that if you're representing the church, you teach 100% the Catholic faith. And I can tell you, Jane, that by being here at EWTN for 5+ years, that's exactly what I have seen. EWTN does a phenomenal job of being authentically Catholic and teaching the Catholic faith. It's not always going to be well received. And I understand that. And, but people also have to understand where our come from is of what we are responsible for doing. If we constantly interject our own personal thoughts and our own personal feelings, it's going to really lead to people's confusion and sow seeds of doubt about the Catholic faith. And so I just wanted to state that up front, that's why when you hear me respond, I'll say, this is my opinion and this is what the church teaches. I always clarify that. I was taught very early on by our wonderful bishop here in Phoenix, Bishop Olmsted. And it's something that I think we do very well here. What do you think, Jerry?
Well, I think that was very good response. And just regarding any sort of political coverage or anything like that. EWTN cannot and will not endorse candidates or parties or anything like that. We cannot do that by law. And you know what? Even if we could, I would bet that it wouldn't be done, simply because every one of us has, a mind of our own. We can think for ourselves. We need to form our consciences according to the teachings of the church. And I know a lot of people, Debbie, come away with the impression that Catholic radio outlets are endorsing this or that candidate or whatever.
Right.
We can talk about the issues, and then people look at the candidates and the parties, and they have to make those decisions, formulate them for themselves. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah. So,
but
Jane,
I do. Yeah, but may I say something real quickly, Jane, before we let you go? That was excellent, Jerry. Jane, you made a comment about evangelizing to our doctors. I just wanted to say, since you brought it up, I'll just continue, because Michael Birchfield was saying to us, our phone lines are lighting up. You got to go to the phones. But real quickly, since you brought it up, Jane, so I was at the doctor's office after 4 years of battling a lot of stuff. They want to do some invasive stuff. I wanted to do alternative stuff. I wanted to watch and wait. I didn't want, all this stuff happening, because remember, I had cancer in 1994. So I didn't want to go down that route again. Anyway, long story short, I'm literally laying there as the doctor, the specialist, and the technician and another a practitioner were in the room. And they said to me that this final test, even though my blood tests are not where they want them to be, this final test I took, which was the thing that was going to determine if they were going to do something invasive or not, they said it's really strange. And as soon as they said that, Jane, I said, okay, this is my shot. I have to say it. I have to tell them what has been happening. And the doctor said, it's really strange. She said, something's changing. It's changing, but it's leaning in your favor. We're not going to say you're out of the woods yet, but it's leaning in your favor. So I very quickly, Jerry, you would be proud of me, I said to everybody in the room as I was laying there, now mind you, I'm laying there, they're staring at me, right? And we all have masks on. And I said, can I just ask, is everybody in this room believers in God? And they all said yes. None of them were Catholic. And I proceeded to tell them that Adam Bly sent me a first-class relic of St. Mary of Jesus crucified, who she was canonized in 2015. I slept with her for 3 weeks. Padre Pio, Blessed Carlo Acutis, all the Take Two listeners, all of EWTN, Johnette Williams and Jack Williams, everybody praying. Jerry was doing adoration round the clock. Okay, I proceeded to tell them everything. And I said, I really think that had something to do with it. And there was like this absolute silence in the room. And the doctor said, well, I can say this. I think you're having some heavenly help. And that was it. So I took my shot, Jane. I hope you're proud of me. Jerry, that's the end of the update on the medical story. But yeah, Jane, I agree with you. God bless you. It's true. We got to get out there and evangelize. I agree. But then what do you think of that? She said that.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I'm so glad that you shared that update, and we'll continue to pray that things go in your favor, Debbie. Jane, we got a lot of calls, so we will let you go and have a beautiful Friday and a weekend there in Charleston, West Virginia. And when you get together with your prayer warriors, please remember Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and EWTN as well. Phone number is 833-288-3986. How has Catholic Radio helped your life? And Debbie, you mentioned Blessed Carlo Acutis, and we might want to take this quick moment to let our listeners know that on Thanksgiving Day, Debbie and I have an exclusive interview with his mother. See, Blessed Carlo was just beatified, I think, at the age of 15. It was just in the month of October of this year. And Debbie and I have an interview scheduled with his mother. It's a beautiful conversation.
Antonia.
And that's coming your way. Thanksgiving. So I know a lot of you have different routines and may not be listening on Thanksgiving, but try and tune in that day if you can. And if you can't, go back to take2show.com on the website there. And Michael Birchfield has all these sound files put up there. So looking forward to that broadcast.
Me too. But I'm just so grateful to everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If I may ask, please keep up the prayers. Just kind of, like Johnette says, tuck me into your rosary. I would be so grateful. That's why you heard that real deep sense of gratitude in my voice yesterday. I'm so grateful to you guys. I love the Take Two family, and we want to continue journeying with you. We got this prayer and fasting group happening all the way till January 1st. January 1st, we're starting something new for 2021. So stay with us. It's going to be very exciting. It's called Jumpstart. I love it. I can't wait, Jerry, right?
Indeed, indeed. We have more of your calls. Thanks for your patience. Matt, you will be next. Morrow is after that. We've got Carla and many others being screened with Ryan Penny here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Father John Riccardo.
When you and I wake up every day, do we strive to know Jesus or not? Quick question to you and me right now. Is that what you and I are doing every single day?
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
The reason we pray is first, we owe God worship, thanksgiving, and adoration. He created us and everything around us. And prayer of praise and adoration is His due for giving us everything, including the thought that we praise. And in that thanksgiving, we are made better for realizing what He does for us.
The reason for our hope, with Father Larry Richards.
So this is the last thing that Paul writes to his son Timothy. And now what happens when the Holy Spirit comes upon somebody, which is the key about what it is to be a man, is a man who's someone who's surrendered to the Spirit of God, And so here he comes, 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6 and 7. For this reason, I remind you to stir into flame the gift of God bestowed upon you when my hands were laid upon you. And so this is the gift of the Holy Spirit. So this is what the Spirit makes us, gentlemen. The Spirit that God has given us is no cowardly spirit, but one that makes us strong, loving, and wise. So what it is to be a man that's filled with the Spirit of God is a man who's strong, not a wimp, who's loving, gives away his life, and is wise. And the one who gives us the greatest example of that is who? Jesus, of course.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. There's nothing like Women of Grace to explain the truth of our faith, Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Thank you, affiliates, for carrying the program. We appreciate that. And any of you who might only be able to listen to part of the show or none of it, actually, at this time, if you have friends who want to listen, tell them there is a replay at midnight Eastern on many of these same EWTN stations. And we're talking about how Catholic radio has helped your life. And Debbie, you've been sharing some eye-opening statistics. And these are really, I think it's important for us to know these things because we find out the impact that Catholic radio is having in lives across this country and around the world.
Absolutely. Here's another one for you real quickly from this survey. 51% of Catholic radio listeners, 51%, folks, that is really good, are more involved with and more generous to their local parish. So tithing goes up, ministry work goes up. Everything helps in the parishes when people listen to Catholic radio. Real quickly, Jerry, we're getting a lot of text messages. They are flying in about Jumpstart. They said, how do we know about Jumpstart? Can you give us a sneak peek? Okay, Jumpstart will be on Stand Tall today in December. You'll get to see the banner and what it means. We're gonna really travel. Remember, every year we come out in January and we just try to supercharge our faith and we journey together. We grow the Take Two family, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands journeying with us, and we love it. It'll start, you'll see the information in December on standtalltoday.com. Plus, you can go there and get a free consultation, which is really cool.
That's right. Okay, as promised, Matt, who's been holding patiently in Chattanooga, Tennessee, listening on Sirius XM 130. Matt, you're a first-time caller today. Welcome to Take Two.
Thank you. I've been listening for a very long time and thought about calling from time to time. And then most of the time I listen to you in the late show, you repeat, so I can't call then. Mm-hmm. But I want to take time to call today. I'm having kind of like a crisis of spirituality. I have to go back quite a few years to begin this story. About 3 or 4 years ago, or I think it was two or 3 years ago, my parish priest was accused of sexual molestation. Mm. And it really rocked our parish, it rocked me. And as a result, it made me look into the misdeeds of parish priests and the whole thing, which brought me back to a now famous archbishop and his testimony and about that. And so I'm faced with now, I'm researching and reading things from what I guess could be loosely called the traditionalists. And it brings to mind a lot of things which are unaddressed by the Pope, bishops, and what I would call improper behavior by priesthood, like sexual misconduct,
sure,
corruption, graven images, and I've as a layman, I'm feeling this criticism of all these people, and it makes me feel guilty to the point, I actually went and confessed this, but it's still, the priest said, it's okay to have your doubts in this, but I'm still having issues. For instance, I don't want to talk to people about these feelings. I don't know where other people feel, and that's where I am. Like where does a person go to get some consolation regarding feelings that your Pope, bishops, and other people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Mm-hmm. Well, Matt, God bless you. Thank you for taking the effort to call today, and thanks for being a regular listener to the show. Just a couple of things I would share. First of all, your dismay over this is very understandable. There have been, very, very serious crimes committed, sins committed, and so forth. I'm going to share a couple things, and I'm going to state up front that this is no excuse for it, but maybe there's a reason for it, and that is quite simply priests, the men who become priests and bishops and cardinals and pope, they come from us. I mean, they are part of broken humanity as well. And obviously there has to be a very, very careful and robust screening process in place for men who are in formation for the priesthood, and sometimes that doesn't quite do the job, or it's very easy for a man to kind of. I spent 6 years in formation for the priesthood. I'm not saying I saw anybody fake it to get to the priesthood, but I could see how it's possible if you just go through the motions to get there. But our good friend Steve Ray often says, Matt, he says, we cannot leave Peter because of Judas. Okay, we cannot leave Peter because of Judas. And keep in mind, Judas was handpicked by Jesus. Okay, this is not to say that Jesus sinned, not to say that Jesus did anything wrong. It's quite simply that Jesus knew ahead of time all that was going to happen, all that was going to befall him, his passion and death and resurrection. And yet he chose, a bunch of fishermen and tax collectors and even Judas Iscariot. So the last thing that I would point you to maybe is John chapter 6, where Jesus teaches on the Eucharist, being his real flesh and his real blood. And in verse 60, it says, on hearing it, many of his disciples said, this is a hard teaching. Who can accept it? And verse 61, aware that his disciples were grumbling about this, Jesus said to them, does this offend you? Then what if you see the Son of Man ascend to where he was before? The Spirit gives life, the flesh counts for nothing. And he talks about how many people were leaving him. And in verse 67, actually verse 66, from this time, many of his disciples turned back and no longer followed him. These weren't just the crowds that gathered out of curiosity. These were the ones who had committed themselves to being disciples of Jesus, and they turned back and no longer followed him. And then the key verse is 67, you do not want to leave me too, do you? Jesus asked the 12. Peter, in the next verse, Lord, to whom shall we go? So I would just leave you with that thought and let Debbie chime in here on some stuff, Matt. But we have the fullness of the Christian faith. We have the truth. We have holy orders, as smeared as that can be sometimes by the actions of certain men. But we can't leave. We have nowhere to go. We must stay in the bark of Peter, and we must remain strong even when those storm winds blow. What Jesus calmed the storm winds in the Bible, remember? So I could say a lot more on this, but I hope I'm not going on too long. Debbie, do you have anything you wanted
just
to add?
real quickly. Matt, I went through a lot in religious education here in the Diocese of Phoenix. We went through, the priest scandal in the late 90s, or early 2000s. Matt, it actually did the exact opposite for me. And I'll tell you why. A couple things. Satan is only going to attack what is good and holy. Our faith is good and holy. He's going to attack. And how is he going to attack? He's going to attack in the weaknesses of man. And that includes our priests. That's why we must pray for our priests. But certainly when a priest falls, we should really go back to being well formed in the faith and continue our journey. I mean, you look at Blessed Carlo Acutis, 15 years old, as a young boy, he knew the Eucharist. He knew it was in the Catholic Church. He knew the importance of getting it out there, of Eucharistic miracles. So what did he do? He cataloged Eucharistic miracles on the internet for everybody to see. We have the truth. The Eucharist is our source and summit. Yes, this is going to happen, but I can tell you something though, Matt. We probably are going to be certain that there's going to be more priests that do some sinful things, and there's going to be more priests that fall. And that is a very sad and unfortunate thing. But that should really make us realize that we are holding on to something that is directly from God. So it actually does the opposite for me, Matt. It makes me stronger in my faith. Does that, what Jerry said or what my experience, has any of that helped you today, Matt?
Well, what you're saying, both of you, brings up a question. And here's where the crisis of my faith is that sometimes I feel like the fact that I'm not saying something and doing something proactively to speak about the bishops and the priests and things like that, and just kind of being quiet, that's where the devil's getting to me. He's making me shut up. Should I, as a layperson, be doing something proactively to voice my opinion, which I feel so tenuous about? That's really where the crisis is. It's not that I mean, at first, I did have the feelings about disbelief, but now it's like, what am I supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. That's where my crisis is.
I just want to say real quickly, I worked in my diocese for many years. We used to always encourage the faithful, definitely speak up, but it's the way people do speak up. Sometimes they just want to, attack rather than just expressing their sadness, how they've been hurt, how this has been, a betrayal of trust. So there's, yes, I think very much so. If you feel comfortable enough writing a letter, to your parish priest or even your bishop to say, and put it out very charitably and say, this is wrong. This needs to stop. Okay. We need to get more support for them, more help for them. There has to be psychological, whatever, happening and all sorts of stuff. So I think absolutely. I don't think we as Catholics should sit completely and turn a blind eye and think, oh, this is not happening. That's just not healthy. I mean, we must, speak in truth and live in truth. That's what we're called to be as Catholic Christians. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, just another quick thought, Matt. God needs prayer warriors right now, and God needs witnesses to the truth. And what I mean by that is, what you can do right now, you can have way more of an impact than you imagine by just being very, very prayerful about this every day. But also, the eyes of a lot of non-Catholic Christians and the eyes of a lot of non-Christians are on us right now. They're seeing and hearing and reading about all the horrible stuff. And they're thinking, the church, just some non-Catholic Christians may think, oh, there you go. There's proof the church is the whore of Babylon or whatever. And non-Christians are saying, look, there's proof this whole thing, and Jesus, it's a myth. It's nothing. So what we need to do is we need to be living lives in such a manner that they see us adhering to our faith and not just holding on, white knuckling it, but really living a robust, joy-filled Catholic Christian life. And for you to do that, Matt, find some like-minded individuals. Maybe join a men's group, the Knights of Columbus at your parish. Get together with some people who think the way you do, think with the church, want to pray, want to be that witness. And I think you will start to see this crisis, as you've called it, it'll start to dissipate, and you will suddenly feel a certain confidence about representing your faith to those whom you meet and in public, and you will feel much better about the situation than maybe you do right now. So,
what do you think, Matt?
I really attached to the words, and he said white knuckle. That describes exactly how I feel.
Aww.
Yes, Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and you know, real quickly, Matt, I just want you jogged my memory on something. A couple years back, I was at a mass in a different part of my diocese, and the priest was up at the altar saying things that I knew it was borderline not right. And I went home that night and I said to my family, what should I do? I mean, I heard this. It's obvious that this is not right. And I struggled too, Matt. I struggled. I wanted to just kind of bury my head, not start anything. But instead, the next morning, I sent an email down to the chancery, down to the bishop's office. And I said, listen, I don't want to start any trouble. This is what I heard. This is just not right. And I got a message back saying we're on top of it. We know, and something's going to be done. And unfortunately for that priest, he was taken out of ministry in our diocese. But so my point is, it was I think we all struggle. You know, nobody wants to be that person that's, you know, like the Catholic police, right? But it is important that if we see something, we call it, because especially if we know it's against our teaching. So I just wanted to give you that confidence you know. Okay, Matt?
I'm feeling better. I'm going to keep it in mind and see where my actions go.
Cool.
Great. Well, Matt, you can count on the daily prayers of me and Debbie and the show team and what we call the Take Two family around the world. You're going to be smothered in prayers. So expect the graces. Expect God to do beautiful things in your life, as I'm sure he already has been. Just be open to that. And call back at some point. Just let us know how things are going for you. Okay, Matt? We've got several calls we want to get to here, but we were so glad that we could have this time to spend with you on the program. Thank you, Matt, again in Chattanooga. Debbie, this is what Take Two with Jerry and Debbie is all about. It's just having,
do this together.
Like you say, having the real conversations about what we're going through in life. And hopefully, how do you put it at the start of the show? Come out a little bit closer to God?
A little bit closer to God.
Yeah.
Yep. And Matt, you can always email us. We're happy to be with you and walk with you on this. Take2 at EWTN.com. And Jerry, you announced that my birthday's tomorrow. I'm trying to hold on to 54 a little longer. I'm getting all these text messages wishing me a happy birthday. It's November 9th, so give me just a couple more days.
Well, it's Monday. People can wish you happy birthday today.
You're right, but I want to enjoy being 54 a little longer. No, I'm grateful that you said that. That was
in reality, Debbie and Marty are celebrating 11 years of beautiful, blissful marriage tomorrow. And on Monday, it's Debbie's 55th birthday. So I know you all will be praying for them and praying for Debbie, especially on her birthday.
Thank you. And Jerry's much older than I am. Okay, next. Okay, just a few years. But go ahead. Where are we going next?
Well, I want to read something real quickly. Mention to our listeners. It's you know what? Why don't we go to another call, because I've got to pull this up here.
And we're going to help me pronounce your. Can you help
There's
me
something to
pronounce
be
it?
said about being prepared when you're on a radio show.
Yeah.
Morrow, is it, in Woodstock, Illinois? Hi, Morrow. Welcome to Take Two. Another first-time caller. Welcome, Morrow. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Good morning to you guys, and happy birthday, Debbie. 55 is better than 54. So don't worry about it.
Okay, cool.
So the reason I'm calling is just to let you know, and happy anniversary, too. I mean, that's very important. Yeah. It just happened. It's the first time I called. I listened to you guys about probably, I will say, 4 years. I just turned my radio on. That day I had a really bad day. I was that day I had an appointment with my lawyer just to proceed with my divorce. And out of the blue, that station you guys came on, it was like 8:30 in the morning. I mean, let me see. It was close to 9. It was with the couple in the morning. What is it? What it was in that time?
Greg and Lisa Popchak, More to Life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Great show.
And they were talking about this divorce and how to forgive and how to move on and how to put Christ in the middle of your marriage. And it was so amazing that day I called my lawyer and said, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pursue this. I'm going to just try to make it. And that's what I wanted to call you, that how important you guys are for many people, that we don't realize how just a word of faith, of challenge yourself in your faith makes a difference. Sometimes we wanted to hear it, and we're so busy all around, everybody around us, that we don't have the time for it. So I just want you to know that it is so important, like you say, the prayer. You don't know how important prayer it is. Now I have it as we don't go to bed if we don't pray, my wife and I.
Beautiful.
We give thanks for everything. We go through our bad moments. So I just want you to know that how grateful I'm for you guys. You definitely saved my marriage. Definitely are helping me day by day to increase my faith. Those like Matt, the caller that just was on the phone on the radio. I mean, it's sometimes you don't know how the Holy Spirit puts you. Like he called, and probably he's going to have that to start something, to keep praying, to have a ministry or something that will help him. You put the seed on it already, and it will grow. I have faith that will grow. Every time that that I hear a caller, I know that the Holy Spirit is there. So thank you for your show. Keep on with it, and we're going to keep praying for you guys and for everybody. And for everybody that has a problem with these elections, just put in mind, just love your neighbor as yourself, and everything will turn around, and just put God in there, and he will give to Caesar what's Caesar to Caesar and what's God to God. But love one another, and everything will be just perfect.
Well, Morrow, we just want to thank you so much for your kind words. And we just want to say we are so grateful to God that your marriage is doing well. You're praying together, and you just keep going, go and protect your marriage, surround your marriage with the angels and the saints. You've got your guardian angels there, working on your behalf to help you, to strengthen your will, to illuminate your mind and strengthen your will. It's a beautiful thing. But that's why we do this work. Somebody, like I said, one of our listeners asked me, how would you describe Catholic radio? It's like a gigantic adult formation group. Okay. And we go to it. We can talk about it. Let's face it. Our priests get 11 to 15 to 18 minutes on Sunday, okay, to give a homily, right? So there's some catechesis in there. That's it. But that's about it. Okay. When you go to confession, it's really not supposed to be used for a big counseling session. So you get a couple minutes there. Where are you getting your faith formation? Where are you building up your understanding of the faith and feeling encouraged and edified and enlightened? I mean, that's what Catholic radio does. And Jerry said it so beautifully. I do say it all the time. Why do I beg for money for Catholic radio? And I've been doing it for 11 years. It's because Catholic radio works. It works in the minds and the hearts and the souls of others. John Paul II knew it. Mother Angelica knew it. And now we're doing it. Wow. That was like a poem. So, yeah.
It was. Yeah. Well, Morrow, yeah, beautiful call. Did you have anything else you wanted to add in there, Morrow?
No, not at all. I mean, everything that I said is just what I wanted to say. And thank you, and God bless you guys. Keep going with what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And as we say, you'll never be a first-time caller again, but we hope you'll be a second-time caller and a third-time caller. So feel free to get on the program anytime, Morrow. We appreciate that so much. Yeah, Debbie, I've often used the phrase that it's like the University of Catholic Radio. We all attend the University of Catholic Radio, and at the same time, it's like being part of a global prayer group as well. You get spiritual direction. You can pray with your brothers and sisters around the world. There has to be some comfort in that, security in that. It has to provide a sense of confidence as we go forward and do what Morrow said. He said, if we love one another, if we love our neighbor like ourselves, that makes all the difference in the world. And I know from seeing, I haven't had my own experience of marriage, as people know, but I'm sure that making a marriage work is not always easy. And all sorts of influences from within the home and outside the home probably are trying to work against that marriage at all times. So when you turn on the radio and you can hear an objective third voice or an objective third party speak to your situation, it can jolt you and say, wow, maybe this road we're going down isn't the best one after all. And that's what I'm sure that's happened to thousands of marriages.
We're very blessed. We connect with EWTN a couple minutes before the show. So we get to hear the tail end of Johnette's show pretty much on a regular basis. I can't even begin to tell you how many times on Women of Grace, Johnette is having her closing remarks. And I've been thinking about it all day long. It just gets, to you really start. you start thinking deeply about your own understanding of God and what you need to do to deepen your faith life. And so it helps. It just works. Jerry, real quickly, may I just say this? Mark from New Jersey, you crack me up, Mark. This is hilarious. He says, Debbie, instead of counting the years, have a happy anniversary of your 29th birthday. Keep thinking young. I love that, Mark, because 29 was a good year, because when I got into my 30s, I got my first, experience of cancer. So yes, I'll take that. I'll take that 29. Okay.
Well, and we haven't gotten to any social media comments, so we will mention a few of those right now. You can always comment on any program at EWTN's Facebook page or YouTube channel. And on Facebook, Angela says, Catholic radio is my companion throughout the day. I am disabled. I am never alone. It's a feeling of belonging with other Catholics. That's what I was just saying, Angela. Yep. Beautiful. Mercedes on YouTube. Yes, the radio brings me back my faith. Thank you for this wonderful radio. Also, Debbie, I'm so happy for you. Tears of joy for your amazing recovery.
Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you. And thanks to everyone. But keep praying. I believe in the power of prayer. We all do, right? We all believe in the power of prayer. That's why we got the prayer and fasting group. Did you share what Dave had to say?
I did not. Feel free to do that if you like.
Dave said Catholic radio also provides for prayer requests to be communicated to thousands of people. Yeah, it's like tens of thousands of people, Dave, maybe even, in the millions, depending on how people get it out there on social media, and can focus us to pray for the needs of others rather than to dwell on our own issues. Oh, so true about that, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
How about Martha?
I want to thank Nora for your email. There is not going to be time to read all of it, but Nora, as a result of listening to Catholic Radio, Debbie, joined our Inspired by Faith book club and fellowship club, led by our dear facilitator, Gigi. If anybody would like to join that, we together read a book every month, and then at the end of the month, we have a Facebook conversation about it. And all throughout every day of the month, people are corresponding with one another, uplifting one another on that Facebook page. So go to Inspired by Faith Book Club, and you will find that on Facebook.
And you can go to standtalltoday.com and find it there as well. Because Jerry, you can see our book, Trustful Surrender, which is the book of the month. This month. It is? Yes. Trustful Surrender. Rebecca says, Catholic radio has deepened my faith. Hearing a Hail Mary on the radio, our Blessed Mother brought me to Sacred Heart Radio, AM 1050. More coming in from Martha and Mary Beth, talking about how Catholic radio has helped you back and deepened your faith life. It's beautiful. Catholic radio is amazing. Let's celebrate it. Support your local Catholic radio stations. And don't forget EWTN. Jerry?
And Debbie mentioned among the statistics she shared, people have come back to the faith. Well, that's what our book is about, Trustful Surrender. It has stories of people who have left the faith. Some have come back, some have yet to come back. If you know someone who's left the faith, this book is for you. You'll find it at the EWTN Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com. Have a beautiful and blessed weekend. We look forward to being with you again on Monday.